Welcome on back. A little bit of Monday action today. It's beginning of the week and everything is tore up. We're going to our 3-inch lumber sorter. We got a shaft that drives the deck. It had a coupling on it, cast coupling, and it broke. So we're going to do some redneck modifying and we're going to fix it. Tag along, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and let's just get to do some dirty work. Charlie's already been started out here. We had a cast coupling, which you can see she's broke. Such a shame because you're only talking like 2 foot worth of shaft. You'd almost move this drive over, couldn't you?
I would.
But for the meantime, we got to replace this. It's keyed on both sides, so we will put a key back in, and we've got a big actual sprocket in the back of the truck, which is going to replace it. And with it being a steel sprocket, means we can weld the living dog shit out of it. So, you know, that should fix that. She's a little dirty, but she's plenty wide enough. It's a 2 3/16 shaft. Got myself a 2 3/16 sprocket, and that'll be our coupling. This actual area we're working on, this is a homemade sorter system. So you've got 3x8s, 3x6s on this side, and 3x8s on the opposite side. And you got more or less 2 chains. You have a deck over there, and then he'll throw the 3x6s on one side and he'll throw the 3x8s on the other. Like this second section here is 10 footers, and it just goes from 8 to 10, the 12, the 14, 16, and 20, and these holes are just opened up accordingly. So when you get like a 10 footer, gets to the end, obviously has nothing to rest on, it falls on down. And the same thing goes for each and every size. Homemade, but it's been out here for years. You know, if you got a little sawmill, you probably got something similar to it. We got a 2-incher right over there. And all our stuff that's not 3x6, 3x8s, like 4x6s, some 4x4s are going to this deck, which will then get carried all the way across, which will go to a long line of roller beds. And they'll just roll it down and stack it in each spot. So it's pretty critical we get this fixed. Luckily, we don't normally run this unless it's Friday. So we got a few days to get it done, but we're gonna get it done in a few hours. Noise. First thing Charlie's doing is disconnecting the chain itself from the drive, so then we can free spin this, get her all lined up.
Hammer.
It's a wrench hammer. Oh,
no.
A little heavier than she looked. She's out of there. Do a little grindage and a little bit of hammering. Take into consideration, it's not like we just have a nice container full of brand new sprockets. They're typically been sitting in a very moist Florida area for probably 30 years. So always got to do a little bit of sandage on these. Get that surface rust off there. Well, it's definitely not a 2-inch.
You want to go look and see if we got a split sprocket the right size?
The problem is our shaft is 2 3, and we got a 2 1/4. Technically would probably be okay because you're welding it solid anyways. But Tommy of the talk a lot, he's a perfectionist, and he says it won't work. So we got to go find a 2 3 between one of the 17 spots that might have one. So tag along, let's go for a journey in the dolly. Before we head to our first spot, we will cut through in between the 2 sorters just to give y'all a little bit more of a inside perspective. So on this side is all our 2-inch plus some 1x8s, only the 8s and 10s. And on this side you'll have 2x6s and 2x6s and 2x10s will fall off on this side. Your 2x6s will fall off first. On the other side you got 2x8s and 2x12s. And on our 3-inch, like I said, you have nothing but 3x8s on that side and 3x6s on the opposite. More or less on what, after the 2x6s, there's a rail, a piece of angle that just keeps the top from falling over. So once those get done and goes to 8-foot 2x10s, or 2x10s, we just deleted that rail, so then the 8 inches 2x8s could fall off. And the same thing on the opposite side. And over here. Yeah. A little bit of redneck modifying. And you see all our 3-inch lumber, we just more or less throw on the ground at our roller bed at the mill, which they will then pick up with the forklift and bring them out here and dump them. Usually on Thursdays or Fridays, all that gets stacked. And the same thing with all our 2-inch. Well, so you always got to have something to fall back on for when your mill or when your planer shuts down, because otherwise you just got 40 people standing around with a thumb up their ass, and who can afford that? So that's why we got these little beauties. Charlie might already have his eye on something. Nothing. Not Cass is last. Up here in the land of the lost. Spent a lot of time up here as a child with my grandfather, watching him organize all this stuff. I didn't bring a tape with me. There's usually a tape up here hiding. What is this? We found one. Looking for 2 and 3. It looks like it's 2 and a 16th, or exactly 2. Well, upstairs was a bust. We'll proceed marching forward. We're at Norm's little hideaway over here. That would have been nice if it wasn't cast. We got, this is for sure 2 and 3. There's 2 2 and 3 split sprockets. And we got this also. Got a feeling this is what we're going to use. Might not be the cheapest, but it's damn sure the fastest. We might as well use split sprocket. They're all new too, ain't they? I ain't seen another shit in here. Split sprocket it is. Split sprocket it is. So when we say split sprocket, what I mean is this sprocket is split. There's 4 bolts, 2 on each side, and the sprocket comes in 2 halves. So very beneficial, because if you have a shaft break or something like that, you don't want to have to tear apart a 40-foot long shaft and take every freaking sprocket off. You just go where the break is, you add one of these babies in, boom, weld it on each side, hey, and it'll get you by for a while, depending on how much of a welder you are. So this will be perfect for the application. It just sucks that we're about to, you know, pretty much waste it. But not being too wasteful because it's fixing something. So let's get these bolts off and get her put back in place. Boom. Split.
About centered. That about centered, Thomas?
In my head, this was going to go a lot easier.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm calling that enough. Now just weld the absolute dog piss out of it, and she should be a-okay. So I'm assuming we're going to have to cut, unfortunately cut all this off because it's higher than the chain possibly. So I guess it doesn't really matter because
No,
it's
as
spinning.
long as the shaft's moving, it'll throw it over it.
And we might have to reuse this one day. So
in theory, we'll be okay.
we'll get the sparkler out and sparkle this thing up and be done with it. So now we got ourselves some 6011 from Heaven and also some 7018 from Mr. Beans. As always, 6011 root capped with a 7018, and they ain't going nowhere. So now that she's all the way welded up, probably need to test this gadget here. More or less make sure it's going to work for one, which it should. And for two, make sure it's not binding up somewhere. What broke it in the first place? Was it just because it shit cast? So you can see over there. Or is it because a chain got hung up, you know? So always play it better safe than sorry. We're going to run it for a minute. Make sure that our job is completed. While we're doing that, Charlie can go and tighten our bearing bolts and be done so. Give you a quick rundown here. Got an operator that'll stand here, that'll run this deck. And you got some jump chains, you got some power rollers here. You know, you got some 20-foot 4x6s right there. And then it gets shorter as you go down the line. So if you need to get, you know, some 3x6 over here, hit the old jump chain, they'll throw over right here, and they'll roll it down this set of rollers. Or if you got your 4x6, you can just straight shoot it off onto that set of rollers. I don't know where you people live at. It's hotter than shit here in Florida. Been at Disney World all week with the cheering mouse of the house, or house of the mouse. You ever need to just see how far our country has gone in the opposite direction, you go visit that place. Kids had a good time though, so I guess that's all that matters. We good? Okay. So now let's test this gadget. Chains moving, which is good. Very good sign. I don't hear no popping and clanking, which is another good sign. My chains definitely do not seem too long. I'm thinking maybe that was just some shit cast, because I'm not hearing no sort of popping or nothing.
It broke fairly clean. So.
Well, close us out this time, Charlie. Hit him with that like and subscribe, and God bless.
Yeah, you heard him.
Like, subscribe, God bless from Charlie. He said it. You heard it here first. For all your Southern Sawmill content and all kind of other crazy shit. And as always, God bless and peace. We out of here.